So what's up, guys? Got it in the truck. Wish I could say it's first startup. It's not. Got the front end all put back on. You can hear it running. I apologize for the belt squeak because I got some power steering fluid on it. But runs pretty good. That's pretty good. I hear no knocking or nothing like that. So I did run into some more problems overall. I'll try to address them on this video. So start with the simple stuff. So the cold air intake, obviously I know it's not going to pull cold air, but it has to have something on there for the mass airflow sensor, which is right here. So it keeps track how much air is coming into the engine. It has to have it. And, you know, obviously I wanted it routed as far away from the engine as possible, so I tried to get over to the side. I would have went to the other side, but the computer and all the other shit's over there for that. So, had that. Did my throttle. Just bought this off eBay. I think it's like 14, 15 bucks. It's for LS swaps, but whatever. Did that. Got all hooked up. Did like a piece of little flat iron for a bracket. I bought one. It just didn't get here in time, and we had a big storm coming, so I wanted to try to get this thing going before it started snowing and raining and a bunch of crazy stuff. I don't want to be out here welding and doing work on it. But problems I ran into, obviously the cold air intake, I couldn't route it where I really wanted it, but it's good enough. It runs really good. Where the rocker arms actually surprisingly were a problem. So I adjusted these because it has like the typical big block Chevy rocker arms, you know. It's typical Chevy, all small block and big block. They're not the rollers, you know. So you bring them down so the rod stops turning, do a half turn on it, you know, and that's a good adjustment for any Chevy block I've ever worked on. And these, it wasn't. You brought it down, I first fired up, it ran good, and then it just started like ticking and knocking and all that stuff. It wasn't the engine, it was just all the nuts. They back off on the lifters and the rocker arms, and they just start rattling and shaking, and they don't stay adjusted. So I went against everything. It still bothers me, but I tried everything. I brought them back down to adjustment. I used Loctite on it. Of course, that didn't work. Probably shouldn't have done that, but I didn't want to tighten them all the way down. And I read some forums. I don't really talk a lot about it. Maybe if I spent days or hours and hours and hours, I could probably eventually find something that's worthwhile. Again, these engines are not common to swap into stuff. You know, they're really big, they're really heavy, but I had to tighten them all the way down. So I tightened them all the way down so the nut bottomed out, and then I backed off just a little bit, so it wouldn't be like torqued down on the arm, so the arm could still move back and forth. And as you can see, it's not knocking or rattling anymore. So, and it runs really good. It's responsive. I don't like it, and I'm sure somebody maybe will comment on something I did it wrong or whatever, but I just didn't see any other way. I tried everything I could to do it the way I'm used to doing Chevy engines. You know, you adjust them down, and then, you know, obviously the hydraulic will make up the difference as it pumps up and stuff, and you have a good adjustment on it. But you know, it did not work on this engine. It was not having that. So that was one problem. And then I did a dumbass part. So obviously, you see, I had to modify all this stuff to get it to go into this, which was fine because I had to modify it for that 454 too, because it wasn't the original 366 tall block. And I wanted to keep utilizing this really big radiator that came with this truck that's stock, and you can't actually buy a replacement for it. The ones they sell are like short, or like the Kodak models. I broke this over twisting on it too much with a wrench, which I know was stupid. I shouldn't have done it. So I had to solder that, or braze it, whatever, and I was able to fill it. And it doesn't leak. It's doing really good. So that was one problem. Another problem that you guys will run into on the 8.1. The 8.1 for the heater hoses does not have a return. It does not have a return because the intake does not pass coolant. So it has a charge. Hope I can show it to you guys. So it has a charge right there on top of the water pump, and then down here I had to actually weld a bong onto my modified line so I could run a return for that. That's what that is right there. And that worked. And what's funny is that, I guess that's what they sell for the 8.1. If you get like a Silverado or whatever you get with these 8.1s in them, they have like a plastic piece just like that that has a bar that's off of it, a 3-part. That's the return for the heater hose. The one off the water pump is the charge, it's the hot side, and then the cool side, the return, you have to route down to the return hose on the radiator. So I just made my own. I could have bought it, but again, it would have been more weighting and plastic, and it probably wouldn't work anyway. Because like I said, has like a 2.5 inch or bigger. Bottom line's massive, but the pipe line's like huge. And then up here, it's still bigger too. The small side on this is 2 inches. So the bottom is like 2.5. So, 2.5 or 2 3/4. So it's pretty big. So to make everything work, so I could continue to use this radiator, I just had to just weld and make my own stuff. So that was some of the issues I ran into. I had to move the computer. It was up here. I had to move it down because it was in the way of all the springs and stuff for closing the hood. So I had to move it down. So I did that. It's like we got a little bit of water or something on top of the computer. I definitely don't like that. I'll have to make a cover, I think, for that or something to protect it. I don't want to get fluids all over it. It's not good for it. Honestly, I probably should just ram those. Well, I don't know if I could have or not. I probably could have, I guess. It would have took me a long time, but I probably could have ran extensions and all that wiring and shot the computer all the way into the cab. That would have been nice to get it out of the engine bay. But whatever. It is what it is, I guess. Can't have everything perfectly the way you want. But yeah, so that's sort of where we're at right now. It's running pretty good. I just did the transmission. I just filled it full of gear oil, changed all that out. But it's just nice and smooth, man. It's running good. Warming it up, letting it run, sort of keeping track of the temperature and stuff. I think the maximum temperature I've gotten this thing up to was about 185 degrees. You got good oil pressure. That's an idle. It's like 32, 33 PSI. And remember, the oil pressure thing on this, it's not like, again, like your typical big block or Chevy where it's going to be right above the oil filter. This is actually at the top on the back part of the block just before it passes into the valleys for the cam and the lifters. So it's going to read a little bit lower, but still 32, 33 PSI at idle. I feel like that's pretty good. So pretty happy with it, man. It's really coming along. It worked out, man. My first LS swap. I've never done one before, and I feel pretty happy with it. It runs good, drives good. It's a good truck. Just slowly trying to work this thing out and get it where it runs and works really well like I want. So pretty happy with it, man. Hope you guys like the videos. I know they're not me going through each step trying to do it, but at the end of the day, I give you guys all the areas I had problem with, so you guys don't have to struggle with them as much either. Oh, one other thing I had, that was, again, probably my own fault. So like I said, I bought those LS swap fuel lines, and I wanted them because I didn't want them because it runs down, and I don't want to have to drop that tank down there more than I have to, that big ass fuel tank. So I wanted to go with these because they don't deteriorate. They're like that plastic inside material, so the fuel obviously won't eat through it like it does the rubber and everything else. Well, I end up having a fuel leak because I pressed the fittings into it. I ended up putting a hole in the plastic, so it was leaking fuel. So I fixed that too. So, but yeah, man, otherwise than that, looking good. Just got finished the electrical for the instrument cluster. I think this thing hopefully will be ready to go back to work, I hope. So hope you guys like it, man. I appreciate you guys checking out the videos, and bitch, I'll get this mess cleaned up. But one step at a time, you know, that's how it goes. Thank you. I hope you guys like it. Eventually, as I do more projects, that I'll do a better job on making better videos for you guys. I appreciate it. Thank you.